Shalom, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Torah class, our weekly Torah class. Thank you for joining us. And we are going to dive into the teaching, the Torah Parashat called Shemot. That is the beginning of Exodus chapter 1 through beginning of chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 6, verse 1. Okay, so, and we're in the 10th month, 15th day of the year 5778. Here we go live in 3, 2.
Well, hallelujah from Austin, Texas. I am so happy to be here, and I'm glad you have decided to join me for this teaching tonight. We're going to get into the most exciting part of the Bible, in my opinion. This is really an amazing book. And Genesis was awesome, but this is also just really incredible. So we're going to get into the book of Exodus and study about the names of those who came out and the story that happened when Moses was still all the way from his being born up until the point that God brought him into the land of Egypt to bring the people of Israel out and to set them free from the toil and slave ship of Egypt. So, if you will, bow with me and pray. We pray, Father, today that you would be with us as we study. We can't get anything out of this unless you are with us, Lord. So you please be with us and study. We want to open our hearts and minds up to you, and so please show us your truth. Show us your kingdom in the words that we study tonight. We thank you for all the foregoing education that you gave us through the book of Genesis, and now we are ready to go to the Exodus of leaving our Egypt. Hallelujah. Yes. So, in the name of Yeshua the Messiah, we pray and ask for you to be joining with us in this study. Everybody say, Lord, I'm hungry.
Lord, I'm hungry.
I ask you to feed me.
I ask you to feed me.
And I'm thirsty, Lord.
Thirsty, Lord.
Give me living water from heaven,
Give me living water from heaven.
so I'll have plenty to give to others.
So I have plenty to give to others.
In the name of Messiah Yeshua.
In the name of Messiah Yeshua.
Amen.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem. You may be seated. Okay, as I said, we're starting the book of Exodus. It's also in Hebrew called Shemot, which is the second word in that book. It's in the first verse, second word, Shemot. Ve'eleh Shemot b'nei Yisrael habayim Mitzrayma et Yaakov ish beto bo. These are the names of the children of Israel that came into Egypt with Jacob. Every man in his house they came. So then they begin to talk about the names of the brothers who came into Egypt, because, as you recall from last few weeks, we had a big severe drought throughout that part of the world. It affected all the surrounding countries around Israel, around Egypt, and they were all coming to Egypt to get food because you couldn't find anywhere else. It was a severe drought. It was, of course, predicted by the interpretation of the dream of Pharaoh by Joseph, and he had instructed Pharaoh on what to do to survive the coming years of drought and famine. And of course, Joseph's brothers were all involved in this famine, and they needed help as much as the rest of the world did. And so God placed Joseph into the position of being father to Pharaoh, is what it said in the Parsha for the past few Parshas. And he then gave instructions to Pharaoh and to Egypt. And everybody, including Pharaoh, obeyed Joseph's instructions concerning the food. He went from the bottom of Egyptian society to the top of it, virtually in an overnight situation. And so all of the brothers and their families came to Egypt, and here they're going to give us the names of the first of the 12 tribes. minus Joseph. In verse 2 it says, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. That's the names of the 12 brothers, 11 brothers of Joseph. And these were all the souls that came out of the loins of Yaakov. And there were 70 souls because Joseph was already in Egypt, and of course they all had their wives and their children. If you add it all up, it comes up to 70 people that came from the promised land into Egypt. It was a promised land that wasn't quite ready yet. Now, everything in the book of Exodus is about timing. When we come out of our house of bondage into the promised land, everything has to be done according to timing. And sometimes we don't understand that. I have gotten very frustrated with God because he wouldn't tell me what was going on, and he made me just sit and watch until I finally figured out that God has a perfect plan and timing for everything. Excuse me. And that everything has to be done in accordance with his complete plan, not just a little piece of it. Right. And in order for him to fulfill his promises to me, he has to bring us to a place that we can, at the appropriate time and place, fulfill everybody else's plans around me too. It's like all these plans are dependent upon one another. Wow. And so when he makes his plans come to pass, they are done perfectly, and everyone in that range of plan has their plans and promises met at the same time to a beautiful perfection. So, after the names of the brothers, we see in verse 5, all of these souls came out, were 70 souls, because Joseph was already in Egypt. Then, it says in verse 6, Joseph died, and all of his brothers and all of that generation died. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and they increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed mighty and exceeding and were filled the land with them. The Egyptians, they were even noticing how the Hebrews were just sort of filling up the whole place, you know. And verse 8 starts talking about a new king who ruled over Egypt that didn't know Joseph and the things that went on before. So this new king, it's Hadash is new, Melech Hadash. You see that? Melech Hadash. Hadash means new. Melech, of course, means king. And so there was a new king over Egypt, did not know Joseph. And he said unto his people, Hine. He's saying it in Egyptian, but since we don't know Egyptian, it's been translated into Hebrew for us, thank God. And and from Hebrew into English. So y'all are not very funny tonight. I don't know if I... So... Well, I speak Hebraic Texan. I
don't know about that, sir.
That's because of my accent.
Oh, snap.
So he said unto his people, Behold, the people, the children of Israel, are mightier than we are. Come on, let's deal with them, least wisely deal with them. Let's look at that word. Neat, hakma. Hakma means literally with wisdom. Hakma. Okay. So this is speaking in nun, which is general terms. Let us deal wisely. Neat. I'm almost going to have to open up my other Bible to see if I can get it to work for me here, because it has all the conjugative forms of the verbs in here, and I wanted to show you what the verb was in this case. So we'll go to Exodus chapter 1, 1. And I think we're down in about, well, it didn't go there. I think I got a problem with my Bible here. Now it's going. Okay, now I'm in Exodus chapter 1 in my other Hebrew Bible, and I wanted to get down to verse 7 or 8, I guess. Okay, I'm looking in verse 10. So I need to get on down here just a little further. Okay. Here is the word nit hachma. And I'm going to open up the little okay. It means to become wise, or PL is to make wise. Pual is to be experienced, or hitba'al, deal wisely. Feel, cause to be wise. Now those are the various conjugative forms that we see the verbs go through in Hebrew. And so in this case, it is hitba'al. Hitba'al is a causative form of the verb, and it means literally it's imperfect first person common. First person means like me or we, okay? And is common, is plural, and is cohortive in both form and meaning. And so let me get this other Bible open here. Okay. That's not exactly what I wanted it to do. So let's get back to the Hebrew BHS paraphrased again. VHS Bible, and we'll open up the.
We're gonna do VHS videotape. We're going back to the.
No, we're going to use the hard celluloid.
Oh snap! Even worse.
Oh my gosh. Back memories.
Yeah. It's almost just as bad as the 8-track tapes.
Okay, now let's see.
I remember we used
VHS
to
Bible
joke about them
complete.
all the time.
I want to look at the.
I never should have gotten rid of the ones I had. Should have just kept them just for, mementos.
Yeah, there would have been more stuff to carry.
Yeah, that's true. Extra stuff. More
Yes.
stuff.
Too much stuff.
Well, I guess I'll use the New King James Version here. I like the King James a little better because I grew up with it. Okay, so verse 10, this says to deal shrewdly with it, but it's because of the wisdom involved in this decision. And wisdom comes from experience, and it comes from tutelage, from being taught. And so wisdom is something that's a much deeper level than just simple da'at. Da'at means knowledge, just to know something. So we'll go back here to the other Bible again, and it says, let us deal wisely or with wisdom or with experience with them, at least they multiply. And it comes to pass that there falls out a war, and they join also unto our enemies. Snoe nu, from snoe means literally to hate, with those that hate us, okay? And they fight against us, and milcham means to fight here, and then against us, and also there's Allah means to go up. Remember, that's the term that we use for doing aliyah, or the olah offerings that go up, and so they go up out of the land. So they didn't want to lose them, but they also didn't want them to join in battle against them, the Egyptians. In verse 11, it says, Vayasimu, and therefore they set alav over them. Alav. If my coffee cup is sitting here on my shulchan, al hashulchan, okay? So it's right over it, right on it, and that's what Allah means here. And they're Shrei Misim. They're princes of Misim, let's see here. A burden causing to faint, really pushing them hard. Attacks in the form of forced labor. So they did set over them princes of forced labor to afflict them, anoto, to afflict them, basivlotam, with their burdens. It's really heavy burdens. And they built cities, array, cities for treasures, for Pharaoh. And so this, the word for built here is bin. Ye bin. The ye part of it is the pronoun he, meaning the children of Israel. They built cities, treasure cities for Pharaoh. Pithom is one name and Ramses is the other. Ramses. And I'm sure that's just an Egyptian word that we don't have the original meaning of. Nope. So, but they afflicted them more, and they multiplied more, and they grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. They couldn't stop these people. They were just filling up the whole land, you know. And we're no longer going to be Egyptians. We'll be Israelites.
How about the service going?
All right.
That's that deal of, hey, Bob. No, I'm Susan. Wait, if you're Susan, who's Billy? Here's Billy. That's not Billy. That's Bob. Wait, no, that's not Bob.
All right. We get it. Verse 13, Vaya avidu. Vaya avidu. That's 5 syllables in that little bitty word.
Almost sounds like abba-dabba-doo.
Yeah, kind of. So the Egyptians made them to serve, the children of Israel to serve with ba perech. Perech means with vigor. It's serious, to break apart, fracture, i.e. severity, cruelty, rigor. I'm going to have to use my pen because my finger's too fat and it doesn't know where I'm at. Okay, we'll go to the next one here. And they made marar. Here is the Hebrew word, marar. Do you remember that? From the Passover Seder?
Yeah.
What is marar?
It's the bitter herb.
Bitter herbs, that's right. So they made life bitter, their lives bitter, with bondage, ba'avodah, in slavery. Kasha means literally harsh, hard slavery. Bechomer, and in mortar, they would cut the rocks and then they'd lay them on top of each other, or they would make bricks and lay them on top of each other and glue them together with mortar. Now let's see what this says about the mortar. A bubbling up of water, a wave of earth, mire or clay, cement. Also a heap, hence a chomer or dry measure. So mire would be a word for it. So this is probably some kind of an earthen mortar. Of course, what we have in our bricks is modern earthen mortar, and it's cement. We know cement's hard, right? But we don't think this is hard, but, you know, believe me, these guys knew what they were doing with brick and mortar. And so anyway, so it was in mortar and in brick, and the bricks were baked in the sun. Did you know that they just, not too long ago, just last year, I believe it was, they found a wall built out of bricks that were fashioned and made and baked in the sun in Abraham's day, and they're still whole, good, solid bricks. Now, I don't think there are any modern bricks can meet that standard. So, in all kinds of service, avodah, service again, service, that's all they did. Besadeh, in the field, kol avodatam, all of their service wherein they made them serve with rigor, with viciousness, with severity. Verse 16, and he said, Beyald led ken, when you do the office of a midwife, Yaled means to bear children. Okay, so when the ones who are helping in this birthing of children, they would be the midwives of Egypt. It would be the Hebrew midwives. And so the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools. Now, in these days, what they did when they had children, we see pictures of women having children. They're laying on their backs with their heels in these stirrups on the table, and they're sitting there straining and pushing with all their might and trying to get this baby to come out. And they're laying in a wrong position for that to happen. But in that day, in olden times, it was a simple little squat down and let the thing come out with its own weight. But you're not letting the weight work with you. The weight's working against you when you're lying flat on your back. So if you are squatting, that causes the legs to be forced more apart, makes it much easier for the child to come out, and then the weight of the baby itself, along with a little bit of pushing that the mama's doing, is going to make that thing slip out like crazy. And so that's why they didn't have as much problem with childbirth in those days as they do today, because they're not letting the weight of the baby and the natural operation of the procedures for their bones to be working together with getting that baby out. So anyway, so when you do the office of the midwife and you see the Hebrew women up on the stools, If it is a son, you shall kill it. You shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then it shall live. But the midwives feared God and would not do as they were commanded by the king to do. So they saved the men children alive. Verse 18, and the king called, and the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, Mattityahu, which is, let me lighten that up for you here. If I can get my highlighter to work. There. Now let's see. Here's Mattityahu. It means literally it's just why. Why aren't you doing your job? You haven't done what we said. And you have saved the men children alive. Well, you silly thing. These are people of God. Who are they supposed to obey, God or you? So the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the women are not like the Egyptians, the Egyptians, Hebrew women are lively. And behold, once they come in unto them, they are delivered. Are delivered before them. In other words, before the midwives can get there. Verse 20. And therefore God dealt well with the midwives and multiplied the people and waxed mighty, very mightily. Very mighty. 21. And it was because they feared the midwives, the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. In other words, not just a house to live in, but families to go into houses. And they charged Pharaoh and all of his people, saying, every son that is born cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. And there went forth a, Yalak means literally to go. It's from halak, meaning, Yalak means to walk causatively, to carry in various senses. And there went of a man of the house of Levi and took a daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived and bare a son, and she saw him that he was a goodly child, that she hid him 3 months. And when she could not hide him any longer, she took for him an ark of bulrushes. These women all knew how to weave, and they would take the reeds from the river and weave them into mats and boats and whatnot. If they needed a place setting, a mat for a place setting, they just go out to the river, grab some bulrushes, and weave them. That's just the way they did things. And so she made for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime or pitch, and with pitch, and put therein put the child in it. And she laid in the flags, or in the souf. The sister stood afar off to watch what happened, what would be done to him. And they stood, Vatei Tatsav. I'm going to have to look that one up, because that one's got too many tavs at the beginning of this thing. Yatzav is the root. It means to place, to station, or offer, or continue. So his sister stood, watched, and continued from afar to know, this is da'ah, related to da'at, what would be done to him. And tared means to go down. The daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid in to fetch it. So this is Pharaoh's daughter sending her maidens in to catch it, to fetch it. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the Bible, and we'll run with it in English for a bit. She opened it and looked inside, and there in front of her was a crying baby boy. Moved with pity, she said, "This must be one of the Hebrews' children." At this point, his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Would you like me to go find you one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?"
He asked for more of a setup.
Couldn't get any better, could it? Pharaoh's daughter told her, "Yes, go." So the girl sent and called the baby's own mother. Pharaoh's daughter told her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will pay you for doing it." Here she is, the real mother, and she's getting paid to be the mother to Pharaoh, to Moses. So the girl went and called the baby's own mother. Pharaoh's daughter told her, "Take this child and nurse it for me, and I'll pay you for doing it." So the woman took the child and nursed it. Then when the child had grown some, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she began to raise him as her son. And she called him Moses, pulled out, explaining, "Because I pulled him out of the water." One day when Moses was a grown man, he went out to visit his kinsmen, and he watched them struggling at forced labor. He saw an Egyptian strike a Hebrew, one of his kinsmen. He looked this way and that, and when he saw that no one was around, he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. So who was around that saw this happen?
Somebody from the Hebrew, or
Was there anybody there watching?
it didn't seem like it. He didn't see anybody, but
If there was, the Bible didn't indicate it was.
No, but then
Right,
later
that was
on.
later.
Okay. I want you to start using your detective minds here, okay? Pay attention closely to the words that we read and see if you can figure out who the witness was. All right? He looked this way and that. When he saw no one was around, he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrew men fighting with each other. To the one in wrong, he said, "Why are you hitting your companion?" He retorted, "Who appointed you a ruler and judge over you? Do you intend to kill me the way you killed the Egyptian?" Somebody knew,
Right.
even though there was nobody there that knew. Knew? So how did he know?
He saved a kinsman. The kinsman went, well, then again, maybe his kinsman that he was saving from the Egyptian may have accidentally told somebody else.
Or maybe the one.
Or maybe you think he would have been the one?
What about the one he rescued?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. He was a witness,
And he might have gone and told blah, blah, blah to others.
right? So I believe it came from the one he saved.
Yep.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
He's the only other one that would have known.
Mm-hmm.
When Pharaoh said, "Do you intend to kill me the way you did the Egyptian?" Moses became frightened. Clearly he thought the matter has become known. Verse 15, and when Pharaoh heard it, he tried to have Moses put to death, but Moses fled from Pharaoh to live in the land of Midian. So one day, as he was sitting by a well, the 7 daughters of the priest of Midian came to draw water. They filled their troughs to the water their father's sheep. Then the shepherds came and tried to drive them away, but Moses got up and defended them. And when he watered their sheep, when they came to Reuel, their father, here's another little detective story for you to chase out. Notice what his father-in-law's name is.
Jethro.
Huh?
Jethro.
It says here it's Reuel.
Yeah, there was like 2 different names that he went by.
Actually, 3.
3. Wow.
Here is Reuel. It means to see God. Right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
To see Elohim.
Friend of God.
Huh.
Reuel. Friend of God. Name of Moses' father-in-law. Okay, but the problem is that's not his father-in-law's only name. All right?
Reuel, Jethro, and then there was another one.
Uh-huh.
You find out when he.
Yeah, there were at least 3 names that we see in Scripture. So anyway, when they came to Reuel, their father, and they said, he said, how are you come so soon today? Why got you here so quickly? And they said, an Egyptian, Hitzilanu, delivered us, Miyad Haroim, from the hand of the shepherds, and also drew enough unto us and watered the flock. So he did a lot for them there. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Lama zeh, what is this? Ye have left the man? Call him that he may eat bread. So he invited him to dinner. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
So we see that Reuel is the first name he was called. And then as he began to go on, Zipporah, does anybody know what Zipporah means?
I know we talked about it in the past, but I can't remember.
Little bird?
There's a little bird.
Bird. I mean,
Oh.
little bird.
She's a little bird.
I've seen a couple women like that.
And the man gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moses. And she bore a son and called his name Gershom, which Ger means sojourner, a stranger. Okay? Because he said, a stranger I have been in a strange land. And it was in the time, in the process, that the king of Egypt died. So he's no longer after Moses.
Well, what was the name of that actor who played the successor in the 10 Commandments?
Was that Yul Brynner?
Yeah, but Yul Brynner still is coming after him.
Yeah.
Still got a bone to pick with him.
Hey, you don't exist. No,
Dun, dun, dun.
not as Pharaoh anyway. So it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the burdens, the bondage. And they cried, and the cry came up to God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning and remembered, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob. And God looked the children of Israel and had respect unto them, and God had respect unto them. And he knew them. Yada means to know. And so here's a root from yada. chapter 3, verse 1. And Moses, Roeh, he shepherded at Zon of Yitro. Now here's the next name that he's known by. Jethro. It literally means his excellence. So it is more of a title than a name.
Yeah. Makes sense. But you missed that in the translation.
Right. They do say it's Jethro, and then they say it's, what was the other name we just used? Ruel, yeah. So they say it's Ruel in the Bible, and then they say it's Jethro in the Bible, and you can even, before long, you can lose track of who they're talking about, you know. And so it was Yethro, Choteno, his father-in-law, Kohen Midian. So the reason they're using so many descriptive names here is because they're wanting to make sure you know that this is Moses' father-in-law and that he's the father of Zipporah and that they are you could say the elders or rulers of this area of Midian.
Must have been some sort of guy with that many titles.
Yeah. So he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to Har Ha-Elohim, which is Horeb. So he led the sheep to the mountain of God, and the on the end of Horeb tells us what direction he's heading. He's going towards it. So it has the feminine ending on it. Is this good to cover it all this way?
Yes.
And it says Vayera, and that's the same thing as when God appeared to him, the same verb and he appeared, Malach Yahweh, the angel of Yahweh, unto him. Balavat, in a flame of Ish.
That's a lot of ish.
If you take the yud out of man, he becomes an ish. But when you marry him to a woman, she's a isha. And so that puts all the letters that are needed to say that he has become a partner or a worker with God. Yah is in the middle of his name when he's married to a woman. So out of the midst of the bush, the fire was from the midst of the bush, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, but it was not consumed. Uchal. Wasn't eaten up. That's pretty cool. The bush was burning. It wasn't burning away. And Moses said, I will turn aside now and see this sight, this great sight. Why it is not burned up, the bush? And then he when he saw Yahweh, that he turned aside to see, and God called unto him out mitok, from the midst of the bush, Hasena, Vayomer, and he said, Moshe! And Moses, and he said, Hineni, don't hit me. Vayomer, and he said, all, which means not, tikrav, draw close, halo, to hear, shall, put off, alecha, put off your shoes, may all raglecha. You know what ragel is?
feet.
There's a wriggle.
Right. The shoes, the feet. Yeah.
I'll move over where you can see it. I hope I can. Okay.
There you go.
Now you can see it. There's my shoes. There's my foot. Okay, it's covered by a shoe. But God said, take off your sandals because you're standing on holy ground. The place, hamakom,
That's holy.
which you, O maid, stand on, alav, on him, Adamah, Kadosh Hu. Kodesh Hu. It is holy. It is holy ground. And then it said, moreover, I, the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, I got all three. He says, I am the God of all of your fathers. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid, mehabit, to look all El upon Ha Elohim, the God. And he said, Yahweh said, Ra'o, I have surely seen Re'iti. Now this is the same root here as here. The T on the end of it is reflecting to who's doing the seeing. Okay? It says, I have seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and their cry, Shemati, I have heard. There's the T again, I have heard. See, that's the indicator to the first person right there. Mifnei, by reason of their taskmasters. Ki yadti, here's the T again, I know. Speaking first person here. Yadati, I know. Their machobav, their sorrows. And I have come down, Ered, I have come down, lehatzitlo, to deliver them, miyad mitraim, from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up min ha'eretz, from the land, Hahu, to a good land and a large land, and to the land flowing with milk and honey, unto, I know, I'll get rid of it here in a minute, unto the place, the place of the Canaanites. So he's on, right there up front, he told them, I'm going to send you to the place of, Makom means place, Hakinani. You're going to go live in the place where the Canaanites live. And the Hahiti, the Hittites, and the Amorites and the parasites. I like to call them parasites. Haperizi, the parasites, and the Hivites and the Jebusites.
Heebie-jeebies.
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 And now behold, the cry of the children of Israel is coming to me. And also, Re'iti, I have seen the oppression, halachatz, the oppression, asher Mitzrayim, which the Egyptians, lohatzim, have oppressed them. And now come, and I will send you unto Pharaoh, and you will bring out my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. When it says Hotzi, Hotzi anu mi Mitzrayim, dayenu. You have brought forth us out of Egypt, and it would have been sufficient. Dainu. So it says that you may bring forth Et ami, my people, B'nai Yisrael, mi Mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt. Vayomer Moshe el ha-Elohim, mi Anoki, who am I? Ki elech, that I should go, el Pharaoh, vaki otzi, and that I should hotzi, bring forth et b'nai Israel, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So he says, surely I will be with you, and this unto you is a token that I have sent you, and has brought you forth, when you have brought forth the people out of Egypt, and you shall serve God upon this mountain, where he's at there, right then. Verse 13. And Moses said unto Elohim, Hine, Anochi ba'el b'nai Israel. I come or go unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, Elohei avoteichem, the God of your fathers, shalachani, tishalach, right? Remember that?
Yes.
So that's the easy way to remember. Shalachni, I sent forth you unto, and they shall say unto me, Ma shmo, ma omer Elohim. What shall I say unto them? When they say, what is his name? And God said unto Moses, thus shall you say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh Elohei avoteichem, Yahweh the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, has sent me unto you. Zeshmi, this is my name, Leolam, forever, and this is my memorial, Zikri, Ledor Vedor, Ledor Dor, unto all of the generations. I'm looking for the specific words that he used here. I don't know, I must have skipped over it. Let me go back up to where I saw that. I want you to hear the exact phrase, because it's not what you've been taught. Here it is. Okay. This says, what shall I say? What is his name? God's name. And he said, Elohim said, El Moshe. God said to Moses, Eyeh. Eyeh means I be. Asher, which means, they translated it, that. Eyeh. Eyeh, asher, eyeh. But this word also can mean happy. There's another meaning of it. Okay, here it is. So it says to be straight in the wildest sense, especially to be level, right, or happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I be happy. I be. In other words, I'm not angry with the people of Israel. I'm not happy at anybody. I'm happy. I'm just happy. I be happy. I be. You don't need to worry about me slapping you around. I'm not looking to find fault with you. I be happy. I be. Does that sound like a God you should just be worried if he's going to try to find a way to kill you? Yeah. Isn't that interesting, though? Yeah. And I covered this, I think, the last time we went through this and showed you that one of the understandings of Asher is happy.
Happy. Yeah.
I be happy, I be. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, yeah, I am, shalachani, I have sent you. Oh, okay. Yeah, shalachani, I be has sent me, elechem, unto you. And then he said, moreover, God said to Moses, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, Yahweh. Here's the first time that we actually have the name of Yahweh being promoted, being brought forth and sold as a package to a group of people, period. So, Yahweh, Elohei Avotechem, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Has sent me unto you. This is my name, Leolam, forever. And this is my memorial. Zikri means literally my memory. This is my memory. To ledor, to all generations. And he says, Lech, go, v'asafta, and gather together the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Yahweh, God of your fathers, appeared unto me, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and of Jacob, saying, I have surely visited you, and have seen that which is done to you in Egypt. I have said, I will bring you up, Me'ani, out of the affliction of Egypt into the land of the Canaanite, the Canaanites, Hittites, Amori, the parasites, and all those other things. Verse 18, the Shema'u, and they shall hearken unto your voice. L'kol lecha, kol, voice, cha, yours. Ubata, and you shall come, you and the elders, Ziknei Israel, El Melech Mitzrayim, the king of Egypt, and you shall say unto him, Yahweh, Elohei, HaYivrim, the God of the Hebrews, Nikra, has met Aleinu, with us, and Ata, and now Nilecha, let us go. Na means please. Derek, journey, Shiloshet Yamim, 3 days, Bamidbar, in the wilderness, Nizbacham, that we may sacrifice Yahweh, Eloheinu. And I am sure that he will not let you go. So what is he sending me there for? Just so he can slap me around? get his jollies? You seeing me cry? I don't think so. And so anyway, he will not let you go. The king of Egypt. Halok, to go and not by hand hazekah. Hazekah? Hazek. Hazekah. With a mighty outstretched hand. I will stretch out my hand, shalachti, I will send forth my hand, vahiketi, I will smite at Mitzrayim, the Egyptians, in all of Nifalotai, all of my wonders, my miracles, which I will do. Bekirbo, in the midst of, and after that he will shalach, he will send forth you, etachim, you all, plural. V'natati, and I will give chen, favor, hazeh, this to this people in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass that when you go, you shall not go empty-handed, but you will have a lot of goods to carry with you. You shall borrow every woman of her neighbor that sojourns in her house, jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and you shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians. And now it's chapter 4. It looks like I'm about out of time here.
Well, it depends on what time you want to conclude at.
And Moses responded and said, but behold, not Ya'aminu. They will not believe me. They won't say amen to what I say. And not hearken to my voice, for they will say unto you, to Yahweh, let me see where we're at here. For they will say, not hath appeared unto you Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto him, what is that in your hand? And he said, Mate, his tribal staff. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. I imagine so. Wouldn't that make you a little afraid? And Yahweh said to Moses, put forth your hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. I don't think so, Lord. That's a dangerous looking snake there. I don't want to touch it. So the end result will be that they may believe that I have appeared unto you, that Yahweh, God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared unto you. And the Lord said unto him, furthermore, put now your hand into your bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Hashuv, to return your hand unto your bosom. And again his hand into his bosom, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, again it was as his other flesh. Really cool. And it shall be, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the sign of the first, they will believe the voice and the sign of the latter. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also the two signs, these neither hearken unto your voice, that you shall take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry ground, and the water which you take out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. And Moses said unto the Lord, my Lord, I am not, this is translated eloquent, but I am not a man of words, is what it really is worded here in the Hebrew. I am not ish, a man, davarim, I am not a man with many words. Anoki gam, I am also mitmul gam mishloshim. Let me see what that says. From 30, I'm not sure. Let me see how this is worded in English.
Oh no, not that language.
Frankly, I don't see it.
What are you looking for?
In verse 10, Exodus 4:10, Moses said, "O Adonai, I am a terrible speaker." I don't get that in this.
No, he said I'm not eloquent or a man of words. Neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow.
What version is that?
The
Bible, this is Zondervan.
Zondervan.
I mean, what is it? A King James or is it
King
like
James. Old King James, New King James?
It's not King James at all.
No, I can tell that. It seems to be a what do they call that Bible?
NIV?
No,
No, it's definitely not.
it's
NIV.
one that it has an expanded meaning on the verses.
Yes.
Oh.
I can't remember the name of it. My brain went
It
dead on
doesn't
me.
say it in your
No,
appendix.
It's just a
Paraphrase?
Zondervan,
What's it say on the prefix page?
Zondervan Bible Publisher, huh?
Concordance.
The Lockman Foundation and Zondervan Publishing House in 1958.
Okay, but it doesn't say what kind of a Bible it is, because there is a special kind of Bible that they printed that was. It takes other possible meanings of the words and extrapolates them into the
Yeah.
translation.
Yeah, they got qualified Hebrew and Greek scholars that got together for this.
Okay, go back to Exodus 4:10 and read that out of there.
But it does go to a little bit more expansion.
Do you want me to hand her the handheld mic?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, read
Moses-
verse 10 again for me out of your Bible.
And Moses said to the Lord, O Lord, I am not eloquent or a man of words, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant. For I am slow of speech and have a heavy, awkward tongue. Awkward tongue.
Let me just go over here and see what the Hebrew is actually saying in that section. It says, mitmul. Especially yesterday or with the day before
For
yesterday.
some reason, when I see that, I almost see the word tamale.
Well, that's
Okay, and let's see what mishlishon.
Tamale. Wow.
Trebly. In time, since the day before yesterday.
Trebly? Is that even an English word?
Tribly, huh?
It's an English word, but not an American English word.
Yeah, Try using that in common vernacular. And
Well, we'll try to go back to a further root. Oh, shaloshi means triplet.
Triplet. Not triplet.
Nor since. So, not in the days before, nor since have you spoken unto your servant, but slow of speech and slow of tongue I am. So he's complaining because he feels like he's a slow speaker, that he doesn't really have the speaking skills to do the job. Boy, do I relate to that comment. And the Lord said unto him, who has made your mouth to a man, or who makes the dumb or the deaf or the seeing or the blind? Isn't it I?
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh? And now go, and I will be with you, your mouth, be with your mouth, and teach you what you shall say. Now, that sounds like a deal. That's what God did with me when I told him, I don't know how to teach. Help me out here, you know. So he started teaching for me. He said, that's why I chose you, because you'll trust me. So he said, oh, my Lord, send, I pray, by the hand who you will send. And was kindled, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, is not Aaron your brother, the Levi? I know that he can speak well, and also, behold, he comes forth to meet you. And when he sees you, he will be glad, and he'll be glad in his heart. And you shall speak unto him and put words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you what you should do. That's God's way. He's got Aaron, who did not have a jet airline ticket to the mountain there. He's got him on the way there. And he's already been on the way for a week or two trying to get there. And he's telling Moses, isn't that Aaron that's coming? You know, you can see into the Rakia. Is that Aaron that you see coming? So I'll put words in your mouth, and you will use Aaron as your prophet. Well, that's all we're going to take time for tonight. I really love these stories. If you guys see anything in the study that you'd like to point out, please send me an email. I would love to see what you have to say. And you can send it to asktherabbi@tzion.org. And I'll be glad to incorporate some of that morsels that you send in for questions. They're morsels to me. And I'll use those to help beef up our students, our training. So anyway, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to ask. And we're going to go ahead and close this session out. This is the beginning chapters of the book of Exodus. Exodus, of course, is the story that we read every year at Passover. And that's going to be done in the springtime. I don't have the schedule up here where I can give it to you right now, but if you look on our website at the Holy Days, you'll see when Passover will be coming, and we will enjoy having those of you who would like to come and celebrate Passover with us. We will need to know you're coming, but other than that, you'd be welcome to come.
When again is Passover, since I didn't get to see it on the...
You have to look on my website under the calendar, and it'll show you when Passover is.
Okay, but it has been officialized for this year?
No, we won't get officialized until we see if we got an official place we can officialize on.
Right, okay. Okay, that's too early. Yeah.
Right now we're hoping to be able to have a better place.
Right.
And a bigger place so we can have a nice crowd for Passover, and get a lot of people that would like to come and share Passover with us and be able to enjoy a nice Passover Seder.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so after they had their first son, Gershon, 40 years went by, or nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
So the son, Gershon, if 40 years went by, then he was nearly 40 years?
Yeah.
When she ends up having another son.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Exactly.
Woo!
Don't you know that was hard on the mom?
Yeah. Because it didn't dawn on me until I was like, wait a second. Okay, I'm looking back at time when you had the Gershon, and then after a long time, nearly 40
How do you
years.
think Gershon filled the ballot?
Wow.
This is through, my son.
Oh, my.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we're going to call this good. Shalom, everyone. And please, you can always go back and go over the study again on the archives and take some good study notes. And hope to see you on Shabbat. And there will be another teaching coming up the following Tuesday. So we got plenty of teaching going on here, so you should join us every opportunity you get. Shalom, everyone. God bless you. May God richly bless you and increase your knowledge of His Word.
Shalom. Thank you for joining us for another delightful evening of our Torah study. We hope to see you again for our upcoming Shabbat services. We hold them Saturday morning, beginning with our 10 a.m. Bibles Issues class, followed by our 11 a.m. main service with worship, liturgy, and another teaching. In the meantime, we shall see you again, and peace unto you. Shalom, shalom.